There are some women who are just beautiful. They specialize in being nice, in being nice to their communities. I would like to share with you a small little snippet on Mrs. Abraham, our godmother herself, Sarai. The Bible says Sarai was beautiful in form and in stature. Some of us think that we just marry for the sake of marrying because people have flesh and legs. No, the Bible specializes also that some women were beautiful in form and in stature, to such an extent that Abraham ended up lying, saying, "This is my sister," when he was dealing with Pharaoh. But Mrs. Abraham had some few issues that I want to share with you. Some few weaknesses and a few strengths. First weakness that she had, Mrs. Abraham was not good at waiting. Waiting, yes. She led her husband into a serious problem that has caused even political problems. To this very day, we are still suffering on Mrs. Abraham's choices, Sarai herself. When God was slow in fulfilling his promises, quote unquote, slow, according to her, God wanted to wait until Sarah was dead. Then he would resurrect her. You didn't hear me. The funeral of Sarah became the miracle of grace. So God would not perform a miracle on a living person. He had to die. No wonder, even in Christianity, God cannot work with us when we are alive. We must be buried first. And after we have died to sin, then God can begin to do some work of grace on us. So Sarah was impatient. As her eggs were drying up and menopause was setting in, hot flashes and everything else, she says to Abraham, no, the time is ticking. Can you please enter into my maid here? She'll make up a child for me. You know the rest of the story. Never run ahead of God with his programs. The consequences might come back to haunt you for much longer than your lifespan. Mrs. Sarah herself also, had yet another weakness. That after you have created a problem, when your problem becomes too big, Sarah is the one who chased away Hagar, saying to Abraham, chase her away. Now here is the woman whom you said you want to use her. Now you have used her. She has given you a son, and now you don't want her. You chase her away. A couple of people like that I think I know, who create problems, and then the problems arrive. Then they want to put disclaimer clauses that they were not involved. It's your problem. Go to bed with it. But a few good strengths also on Mrs. Abraham. Sarai welcomed Abraham as a husband. She even called him Lord. And I know, to many of us who are modern women, to even think of calling your husband your king or calling him your Lord, you would feel that it's abuse. But remember, when a woman is on her knees, the man is on the chair. When a woman is on the chair, the man is on his feet. When a woman is on her feet, the man is on the roof. So you can make your choice. And when a woman is on lying down, the man is on his knees. You need to know how to manage your knees. For within this concept of knees, as women go lower, men can only come lower also. But when women try to go higher, you can be sure it's better and easier for a man to stay at the corner of a sharp roof. Now, you don't know what that means. The roof has got the pointed thing. The Bible says a man can actually live on a corner of a sharp roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Mrs. Abraham teaches us a lesson. She addressed her husband as her Lord. And there's no way I've heard where a man has beaten up a woman who is on her knees. Humility is the key. That unlocks the passion. That unlocks the sympathy. That unlocks the goodness in your man. And Mrs. Abraham called Abraham Lord. Not only that, Mrs. Abraham had another good quality, which I don't think you've watched before. Abraham saw people passing by the road. And Abraham invited the people into the house. And Mrs. Abraham was simply told, now start cooking. I know some women out there, before you bring visitors to my house, you must call, you must SMS, you must write a profile, you must send me an email and to prepare me. And men literally live like strangers in their own homes. There's no freedom. Or if you can find a friend in town and say, come home, share a meal with me. Because our women have become so obsessed with order, so obsessed with counting their drumsticks before they cook. We no longer have women who have big hearts, who always cook because they know someone else will come. For example, if you are cooking a meal for a weekend, why do you only cook enough for your children? Are there no neighbors around? People are only focusing at their nucleus family. They don't even include other people. If you are going for a picnic, for example, why count 3 drumsticks? What about the beggar who sits on the bench in the park? When you leave can't you give someone? No. We only focus at us. But Mrs. Abraham, good quality. Abraham could bring people without warning. And Mrs. Abraham Sarai would start cooking and doing her best. She specialized in hospitality, being good. And imagine, in the midst of her hospitality, one day she cooked a meal for the angels. You didn't hear me there. Mrs. Abraham, without knowing, she actually roasted a drumstick. She roasted a lamb for God in her house without knowing. Simply telling us, therefore, that acts of goodness invite guests, and some of these guests are of a much better quality. Therefore, there is a reward in being good. There is a good reward in constantly doing what is right. For there's a good harvest that comes out of there. Many of us do good things because we want an immediate payment out of that. Let me give you good news. Do something that is right because it is right. The reward is that you did it right. You don't need a compliment for that. If someone says thank you, you must be surprised. You must be qualified to work for the unthankful. Learn from Mrs. Abraham. Welcome visitors. One day, the angels of grace might tabernacle at your table without knowing.